Hello, everybody. My name is Bryce Paden, and this is my EDL 856 case study. So first, summarizing the case. There's a new parent group that was formed, the PTA. The principal is thrown off by all of their new ideas. The group wants to engage with the community. Um, the group leader, who the principal talked to, is a young lawyer, and they had plenty of ideas to change different back to school nights and such that they wanted to do. The principal isn't sure what's all going to come from all of this and how it will all play out. He seems, I seem very nervous at the end of the case study to see, to determine what's going to go on and how it's going to be moving forward. So from legal or ethical issues, legally, I thought of, we could be pushing teachers to do more, thinking negotiated agreement wise. It seemed like there was some ideas that they had that dealt with extra time and lots of nights and working more hours. And when you get into that, you could get into some negotiated agreement issues. But no one has been harmed or fouled through this. Ethically, I think it's great that their parents come together in the PTA and they want to engage with school personnel and try to make things better. But the flip side of that would just be that I don't think that parent groups should have the authority to change policy. And that was one thing that their leader was hinting that they needed. They wanted more weight in the policy making process. So to sum up what has happened to this point, a newly formed parent group that's filled with parents and community members, who is led by a young attorney, met with the principal about making changes in the school by conducting observations, collecting data, and helping create policy to ultimately aid in student success. The people, place, and program, things we know and things that we don't know. So we do know that myself, the principal, is involved. The president of the group, which I mentioned, is the attorney, the young attorney, and the parent group in general. The principal didn't meet with the other parents involved. There was already a meeting that had been taken place with the PTA where they came up with all of these ideas and had things that they wanted to talk about and discuss. And the principal, myself, I was not privileged to that meeting prior to. Excuse me. The place, it happened in the meeting happened in the principal's office in regards to the school district, demographics, that type of thing. It didn't give any indication where this school is located, whether it's rural, suburban. It didn't give any indication to that. For the program, it doesn't say, what exactly grades it would be. Excuse me, but I'm guessing that it's all grades involved. My question would be, with this, am I the only principal that's dealing with this? Or is it a little bit bigger school where it has, multiple principals? And if so, they should be kind of involved as well in this process. But that information wasn't given, but I think it could help in the outcome. So reviewing the information and prioritizing it. I think the principal is encouraged to have parent and community involvement. In the case study, I feel very, very confident and encouraged by just having people come in and want to like shake things up and want to see our students and our school improve. He also doesn't want the group. The biggest thing is I don't want the group's big plans to ruin any day to day learning. I have to be aware in decision making process with the PTA here that I will be held accountable for any decisions that were made that end up going south. It's not going to be the PTA that's really held accountable. It's going to be me in charge of of overseeing those decisions. And the needs to meet groups, but not get in the way of I need to meet the needs of the group. I think they do have some good ideas, which I'll explain a little bit later. But have to meet them because they are willing to help, and you don't want to push people away that are willing to help and willing to go the extra mile for our students. And I'd like to meet those needs, but as also we can't be having my teachers doing excess work and ruining the relationships with them or causing distractions for our students during the day. So in my opinion, developing a plan in the best place or the best case would be to engage and work collaboratively with the PTA, the diverse community members, and the school staff through different forms of communication, while understanding that there are boundaries, and it all goes through myself or the superintendent to ultimately support and strengthen our student learning. So evaluating this plan. Some pros would be that we're cultivating relationships with teachers and community members and parents. That is a big key to schools, and that's what we want to do. We want to get the involvement with them and getting them to push us as teachers to want to do better for our students. The ideas might be beneficial. They might be beneficial for future success of our students and staff. They could have some great ideas on how to shake things up and get more participation. Perform better communication with parents, community members. It kind of goes right along with the ideas might be beneficial. We could find ways to communicate better, come up with different ways that they're more aware of that they can bring into our school system. Could also find flaws to benefit school improvement. There's with that you can find a lot of these community members work in different environments, and they could bring a different perspective to to our school that maybe we don't really see. Some cons would be that they could take advantage of me and what I'm doing. I don't want to be made a fool out of this deal, and if they're coming in with the wrong intentions, that could negatively affect them, myself, my performance, the students' performance, the school performance. This could cause division of teachers. If they come in with a bunch of ideas that our teachers and staff don't like or don't think that it would be necessary, I could see that going in a negative way and causing division. And ultimately these guys could gain too much power. They could be given too much, and it could end badly for a school district. So me making my final decision. This number one, this group isn't going away. We need to, in my decision making process, like this is understanding that these guys aren't going to go away, whether I tell them, hey, I'm not listening to you guys at all, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do everything that you guys want to do. I just don't think that they're going to go away. There could be some positive to come from this. Change isn't always a bad thing. Communication is key to success. So having that open communication and using different forms of communication to make sure everybody's on the same page is instrumental to success. Promoting student success drives decisions. That should be the biggest decision, driver, is promoting student success and school improvement. And lastly, just collaboratively being able to come up with solutions. Using the PTA, our staff, myself, using our resources to come together to ultimately make decisions that would be better for our community. So lastly, implementing my decision. First, I would engage in communication with the whole group. I'd want to engage with them as a whole group, not just the leader. Collaborate with them to determine their goals. See exactly what they're wanting to do, how they line up with our school, what needs to change, what can change, and go from there. As well as communicate those boundaries. Like I said, they're not going to be able to change policy. That's going to be in there, and it's just not going to be able to be done. Next, I would involve school personnel with the communication. My school staff needs to be involved if they're being asked to do extra things, or there's changes to things that we've done the same way for a certain amount of period. They need to be involved with this and understand what's going on and why we're doing it. Encourage new community members' involvement. This would be a great way to add PTA and get new members in there that normally wouldn't be in there. If they have some good ideas, we should get them all in there. A negative to this, if they don't like this, then I feel like the next step would be, the superintendent needs to come in and be notified. If they're not willing to work with me, they're not willing to work with my staff, and it's all about them and what they want, I think it needs to go straight to the superintendent, and he or she can determine how to move forward. Next, I would engage with school personnel to describe the plans. Let them know exactly what's going on to everybody else. Use different communication platforms to inform the community of the new plans. If there's changes made to the back to school night, the rest of the parents and the rest of the community need to be aware of what's going on. And lastly, keep the student success and school improvement at the front of these decisions. That needs to be the driver, like I mentioned earlier. And if that's not the case, then something else needs to be done, because that is why we're doing what we're doing. And the PTA, if they're trying to use that organization to manipulate anything else, then it's got to go. And kind of lastly here, if this plan was ineffective, then I would have to meet with the superintendent to decide if we cut ties with this now independent organization or continue to try to make it work. And thank you very much.